why doesn't personalized shepherding happen at most churches? Or the other way of putting it is, why do most Christians find themselves not being individually shepherded by their local church pastor? I think one of the biggest barriers towards this is our misconception of what the church is and what pastoral ministry essentially is. The church is not primarily the institution of the church, or the church as a society, a nonprofit society of that country. It is not primarily centered on its programs, and it is not primarily centered on Sunday service. That is a misconception by the church and its leaders in the modern church today, which is very sad. And pastoral ministry in its essence is not the running of those programs, particularly a Sunday-centric program. That is the misconception. And unfortunately, the modern church has been sucked into this idea that the pastor has done his job after giving the sermon and running the programs and running men's ministry programs, women's ministry program, children's ministry programs, and these services that are impersonalized and content heavy, but impersonalized, and they've done their job. When in fact, what is required is to be a good under shepherd, just as the Lord Jesus is our good shepherd, who knows his people by name and who shepherds them individually. And that is what's demonstrated by the Lord Jesus, by the Apostle Paul, and what we should be doing as pastors. And so once we come to that realization, we'll realize how hard that is to do because, well, the modern church is now run in such a way that is program-centric, and that keeps us already busy enough. Not to mention there's some practical barriers regarding how far you live from your church, the administrative requirements of a church, all the meetings, the staff meeting, the board meetings, running camps, running all of that. All of those, I think, could be supplementary towards your gospel ministry of the church. But a lot of that, if necessary, should be taken on by other church members. Pastors and elders should be shepherding individuals. That is, spending much of their time not only in preaching the word in a public setting or a public formal setting, but actually walking with individuals, getting to know them, and teaching and applying the word on an individual basis consistently throughout the year. One of my heroes and a pastor I look up to is the Puritan pastor, Richard Baxter, and he did just that by himself of a congregation of 2,000 people, 700 families, and he would visit with the people with one assistant, all the families every single year. And if he could do it, although everyone lived in the same town, we should be striving towards doing that. And I understand the busyness of life, the busyness of those that are raising a young family like I am, the busyness of the programs. It's hard to do, but we need to fight for the recovery of pastoral ministry, the recovery of knowing our people. Every time we have that pastoral engagement, every time we build trust with our people, every time we can know them individually, every time they ask a question, whether it is theologically from the Bible or from their life, those are shepherding engagement moments. Those are the essential moments of pastoral ministry that is built